Hey guys, welcome to Bastion Time. I am your host Bastion. This is hopefully a quick little video. The hilarious behind the scenes thing is I recorded this video twice before. Once was just a second ago practically, but basically I recorded it. I have no time to make videos lately, which is why I've been so lazy about it. That's for a very good reason, a very exciting reason. We'll get to that in just a second. But as a result, I just have not had time. So I had regularly been posting them every Friday. Basically, for a while there, I'd record like 4 in a row and edit them all at once on a day that I had like free to just do whatever. And then I would upload them throughout the month or whatever. But anyways, progressively, every Friday. But I haven't been able to do that in the past couple weeks for very exciting reasons, and again, we'll get to that in a second. But I recorded this video, a version of this video on my way to the gym because I was like, I've got to record and explain why it's been, first of all, I just want to share the exciting news, but also I wanted to explain why it's taken me so long to put anything up because it's been like 2 weeks now, I think. But I have no time, but I do have time on my way to and from the gym because I walk to and from the gym because it's within walking-ish distance. Not really, but you know. It forces me to do some cardio, and Lord knows I need some cardio. So I have been, and I hate doing cardio. So the only way I can convince myself to do cardio is Ring Fit and then walking to and from the gym. So I may as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone, which is a grotesque phrase. I don't know who invented it, but it's disgusting. Anyway, so I was walking to the gym and I was like, I'll just do it now. So I did, but the traffic was terrible because it was getting close to a road by the time I was wrapping it up. And then I ran into in Portland, we have a massive homeless issue, and the path that I was taking, which used to be a beautiful, lovely path, is now completely covered in all kinds of trash and excrement and stuff, and tents and things, and you know, my heart goes out to them, but it's turning the city into a trash dump. Anyways, that's very controversial, and I shouldn't bring that up. So, anyways, I recorded it. It was terrible, so I was like, okay, fine. I know it's terrible. I'll just delete it, re-record it on my way back when I'm out of that area and the traffic is less noisy, and I'll be more snappy with it and talk faster because I know exactly what I want to say because I already did it. So I did that, and then as I was getting home, I was like, I just know that was terrible. It was so jittery, and I was not speaking very coherently at some point. So here's my 3rd attempt. And probably at this point, you've already stopped watching the video because who cares why I haven't put up a video, right? Or what my life update is. And it's not, it's nuanced. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. So it is about my writing. And for those of you who don't know, I have been very diligently trying to get published for the past 2 years, maybe only 2 years. Writing has always been a thing that I've wanted to do since I was a kid, but then I kind of put it on the back shelf, pun intended, because I just didn't think I was a good writer, frankly, you know, that whole self-doubt stuff. Because I've written several books when I was a child, but they were not, let's be real, they were not good. And then the last thing that I actually wrote that was I was serious about was when I was 22 or something like that. And so that was a billion years ago, if you know my age. And I sent it off to a publisher because back then publishers were actually taking what's called unsolicited manuscripts, which just means they did not specifically ask me to send them the book because why would they have? They don't know me. Of course, why would they know me? Now no publishers, no reputable publishers want you to send them your book. And we'll get into how that goes later. So anyways, I sent off the first few chapters to them. Following their guidelines, they promptly sent me a no thank you letter. So I was like, clearly I'm a terrible writer and that's that. But then 3 years ago, I was like, I really want to write this one particular book, and maybe that's the only book I'll ever write, but I'm gonna write it. And so I just wrote an outline for it, and then I didn't write it for another year after that. And then I did write it, and I thought it was fine at the time. In fact, I thought it was great at the time. And then I sent it out to a bunch of publishers. No, what am I talking about? In this day and age, the process is this. Publishers don't want to see your book. from you. The gatekeeper is the literary agent. So you have to first snag a literary agent, and then that agent contacts the publisher. And the way that agent contacts the publisher is they already have some sort of in with the particular editor at that publishing house, that editor is specifically specialized in the particular type of book that they want to present to them. So if it's a young adult, which is like kids who are 14 to 18, if it's middle grade, which is kids who are 13 and lower, or maybe it's an adult book or a fantasy book or whatever, there's a specific editor for each genre. And actually even more specific than that, it's like, is it a middle grade fantasy or a middle grade contemporary, or is it a middle grade sci-fi, or is it a middle grade there's a different editor for each of these types of things. So the agent has to have the connections. They can't just look it up in a database. Well, they can, but they're not. It would be almost as if I sent it to the publisher myself, if I was able to look that up in a database. Like, if they don't know the agent's name, if the agent's name doesn't ring a bell to them, then they're like, who are you? Same as if I were to send it. So that's not how it works. The agent has to already know the publisher, but that's a catch-22. How does the agent know that particular editor? Well, that's because they're a junior agent or something in a big agency, and that big agency has senior agents who pass along the information, so that junior agent's able to say, I'm at such and such big agency, and so-and-so, who you know from my agency, suggested I contact you about this particular book. And then eventually they build that relationship with that agent and editor, and then eventually, that agent could just send that editor things, and then new junior agents come in, and it's a process. So that's where we reach the problem here, which is that I have to then send a query letter to snag an agent, a literary agent, and if I have no writing credentials, if I've never published a book, the agent's going to see that in the query letter, and more likely than not is just going to pass. It's not even going to bother reading it, or if I've included a chapter, if they ask me to include the first 5 pages or whatever, they might just pass. Like, oh, he's got I don't really want to represent authors who've published before and have sold plenty of copies or whatever. Or, it might not be the specific type of fantasy. Like, maybe this is fantasy that takes place currently, but they only do like medieval style fantasy, middle grade medieval fantasy or something. So in any case, it's ultra specific and ultra nuanced. So for me, I have to research an ton of agents to find the specific ones who are interested in the specific type of book that I've written, so that way they can say, okay, sure, I'd like to sign with you. Or, in most cases, I send them a query letter, they say, that sounds interesting, go ahead and send me the first 3 chapters. I send that, and then they say, oh, well, no thanks. Or they say, oh yeah, that sounds interesting, send me the whole manuscript. And then I send them the whole manuscript, and they say, oh yeah, no thanks. Or they say, in this case, yes, I would like to represent this. So it's finally happened 2 years in. But the problem is, this particular agent does not have, she's sold plenty of books. She's sold a lot of romance, and she used to be an editor even at one of the places I'd be very happy to get published at. So that's my one hope, is that she has that connection. But basically, to sign her contract means that I'm risking a lot, because she has not a proven track record of selling my specific type of book. She wants to sell my book, but can she, is the question. So at this stage, what I do is I'm expected now to then contact every single agent that has not said no, that I've sent the thing to, who has not said no, and it turns out that's a lot. And then I say to those agents, hey, I've got an offering agent. I will give them until such and such date. Do you want to throw your hat in the ring? And so if they have the full manuscript, they can quickly, read through it and say yes, or they can say, I don't have the manuscript, send me the manuscript, and I can do that. And then they can quickly read through it, or they can just straight up say no. And in the past few days, so far there have been no other yeses. So that's a little worrisome, but it's just a few days. I'm supposed to do it in 10 days. And there have been quite a few of, great, send me the full manuscripts. And there are a couple weird situations where I have sent them a different manuscript. So they're saying, okay, well, I will quickly get through this one. Please also send me that one that has the offer on. because I've written quite a few books and I've sent out quite a few books out there into the world. So, and then in a few instances, more than I'd like to count, there have been agents who've said, "Oh, well, good for you. Thanks though, but no thanks." So that's frustrating, especially one this morning where I was pretty sure this guy was like a good fit and was going to want to offer, and nope. But it was very complimentary, but it was a no. So anyways, I'm a little anxious because I really, even if no other agents offer, yes, I probably will sign with this agent, because what's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst that could happen is I'm locked into this contract with her. I cannot send any of my other books out to any other agents. And so if she fails miserably at selling my book, and there's a good chance she will, then I can do absolutely nothing until our contract is up. And I have not looked at the contract yet, so I don't know how that all works really. But my understanding is basically, she said that like in 6 months, if she's not able to sell the book, then we'll have a talk, and then we will probably terminate the contract at that point. Or she'll say, "Do you have anything else that you want me to try to send out there?" And built into the contract is the concept of, yes, since I do have other things that I would have written that I want to send out there, she gets first look at those. So she might say, "This isn't a good fit for me, actually. So feel free to go back into the querying rat race." So anyways, I hope that I can snag a bigger fish, kind of using her as bait, getting a bigger fish. And for me, all that I care about would be, I don't need the biggest agent in the universe, because the biggest agent in the universe is not going to want me. But I would like maybe a junior agent, an agent who's just started out at one of the big agencies, who does have those connections because they have those mentors who have all those connections, and that would be perfect for me. There's still a lot of risk there, but at least I know that they have, even better would be a junior agent who has already sold young adult. And so, yeah, this specific one that's been offered on is my young adult contemporary, which just means it takes place now, and it's about somebody who's between the ages of 14 and 18, in this case 17. Of course, the funny thing is, even if I do sign this contract or any other offered contract that may come my way, it's going to be an eternity. I can already imagine the question that a lot of you have is, "Oh, great, when will we be able to read this book?" And the answer is probably not until like 2023 or something like that, because what happens at this point, after I sign the contract, is then that agent, whoever that agent is, will have a F-ton of notes to send to me. And she's already provided me with some notes about this particular one, very vague notes, but like, if we do agree to work together, then here's a big issue that you'll need to fix, which is basically that the middle is a little slow and needs what's called a ticking clock. Not literally a ticking clock, but just something that propels the plot forward in a way that is like, X needs to be completed by Z, and if it isn't, then all is lost. And so anyways, it needs a ticking clock and it doesn't have one. And I should have realized that, but somehow didn't. A very simple, obvious thing. Literary 101. But anyway, so then she'll have all kinds of notes, and then I'll have all kinds of rewrites, and we'll go back and forth for months, probably. And then eventually we will have something that's polished up enough for her to send to editors in batches, like 3 editors at once, and then see who wants it. And then, I mean, in a dream universe, what would happen is that we would start with the big editors at the big publishing houses, and I don't think she has those connections, but let's pretend she does for a second, and that they are like, get into what's called a bidding war, and then we just take whoever offers the most. That's probably not going to happen. So, anyways, we'll talk about what's more likely to happen in another video. But anyways, then even after that publisher takes it on, that editor rather, then that editor will have an F-ton of notes, and then I will have more rewrites, and then that will be a bunch of back and forth until months later. Then it's polished enough that the editor is like, okay, great, we will put it on the schedule now. But we have this young adult coming out next, and that one coming out next, and that one, and that one, and that one. So probably 2023. So it'll be a long wait, but it might actually be on the road to happening, so that's exciting. But anyways, the amusing behind the scenes thing is that I'm recording this after I've already recorded. What ended up happening is I ended up babbling forever in this video about the whole process that I've been going through and how anxiety ridden it is and all the intricate steps. And if you're at all curious about how that all works, then I'm going to probably put that on my Patreon, because let's be real here, most people probably don't want to see that. So that will just be a bonus video over on my Patreon. But anyways, yep, that's it for this video. See you guys in the next one. Vote, actually, in the comments if you could, because the thing is, I have recorded a whole bunch and edited several videos, but I just don't know which one to put out next, because I've run out of stuff in the chronology of my story time type videos. So what I could do is either one about another online situation that I had before the most recent anyways, it's a video that I realized I had failed to record and put in the correct part in the timeline. So there's that, which is about this online relationship with this overseas Marine that went terribly. And then there's also another video, and the thing is, I can't imagine too many people are interested in an online relationship. So that one's like, it ended pretty dramatically. And then there's also another video that I don't think so many people are interested in, which is when I was recording that video about all those former Mormons that I had dated back to back, I was like, I think a lot of people don't know much about this religion, and I learned a heck of a lot. So if you guys want to hear 5 things that you probably didn't know, and trust me, you probably don't. Unless you are Mormon, you probably do not know these things. 5 things that you probably didn't know about Mormons. I did a video, recorded and edited and everything on that. And then also, I recorded a video about the god-awful nightmare that was buying this house. Not this one. I mean, yes, this one is the conclusion to the story, but the process of finding a house in a house that I'd fallen in love with, and why that didn't work. And because, spoiler alert, the agent was terrible. But anyways, let me know in the comments which of those 3 videos you want to see next, because I don't care, and they're all finished and edited and ready to be uploaded, but I have no idea which ones. So let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And also on my Patreon, there'll be all kinds of more details about this whole writing thing. So anyways, see you guys then. Bye, guys.